బాగుంది సార్ ఉంటా.
వాయిస్ బాగా క్లియర్గా ఉంది కదా?
క్లియర్గా ఉంది సార్.
ఓకే రైట్.
ఓకే నేను టెస్ట్ చేస్తాను. ఉంటాను.
ఓకే అమ్మా. పర్లేదు భలేవాడు. తెచ్చేవాడు నేను. అంటే లాస్ట్ 3 ప్రోగ్రామ్స్కి మా మనవాళ్ళే అరేంజ్ చేశారు. 3 ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ చేశారు. అవునవును. నాకు క్లియర్గా చెప్పాల, చెప్తే తెచ్చేవాడిని.
మనకి యాక్చువల్గా ఏంటంటే సార్ ఉండేది కాదు,
దాని మీద అవును.
కానీ ఏమైందంటే ఇమేజ్ సరిగ్గా రాదు.
ఇమేజ్ సరిగ్గా లేదు.
డైలీ యూనివర్సిటీ అది వీడియో కాల్ కాదు, ఫోన్ కాల్. చూసిన అక్కడ వీడియోస్ ఏం లేవు. ఎవడో ఫోన్ చేశారు, నేను ఇంటర్మీడియట్ పాస్ అయినండి ఏవో చెప్తున్నారు, రిజిస్టర్ గారు చెప్తున్నారు. ఇది అడిగారు అనమాట. అవతల వాయిస్ సరిగ్గా కట్ అవ్వట్లేదు. ఇక్కడ ఒకసారి నువ్వు కనబడుతున్నా చెప్తాడా? సినిటా చూడు. ఛార్జింగ్ పెట్టి ఉంచేస్తే ఇంకా మేడంకి అంటే అనుకుంటే బాబు ఆన్లైన్ నాకు తెలియదు, అవతల బాగా కనబడుతుంది. మీ పిల్లల ఇంట్లో వాట్సాప్ వస్తుందా టీచర్కి తెలుగుకి ఎలా చేస్తారు తెలుసుకొని వింటున్నప్పుడు మనకి ఆ టైం అప్పుడు డిస్టర్బ్ చేయకూడదు. ఎల్లండి కొనవా ల్యాప్టాప్ ఎంత అవుతుంది? మా వాళ్ళు ల్యాప్టాప్ కొన్నాను. ఆన్ చేసి పెట్టాను, పర్లేదు కదా. కట్ చేయి, మ్యాచ్ చూస్తున్నారు అయితే. రెండు ఫ్యాన్ అవ్వాలి, ఫ్యాన్ అయి ఉన్నారు కదా. ఫ్యాన్ వేసాక పాయింట్ లేదు, అక్కడే ఉన్నాం. మనడు మూర్తి తెలివిగా చెప్తున్నాడు. ఇప్పుడు ఫైల్స్ వచ్చిందని మేడం చూడ అడుగుతున్నారు కదా, ఫైల్స్ వచ్చాయని.
ల్యాప్టాప్ చూడొచ్చు, ఇప్పుడు యూజ్ చేయాలి.
మొత్తం వస్తాయి. ల్యాప్టాప్ కొనిస్తాను, స్మార్ట్ ఫోన్ మా హాఫ్ చెప్పారు మా సిస్టర్ అమ్మాయి. మయా ఆన్లైన్ క్లాస్ అవుతుంది, ఫోన్ ఉండాలని. ఆన్లైన్ క్లాస్ కానీ జాయిన్ అవ్వలేదు కదా, స్మార్ట్ ఫోన్ ల్యాప్టాప్ కొనసాను చెప్పి ల్యాప్టాప్ కొనేస్తాను.
వాళ్ళు ఇన్వైట్ చేస్తారు. మనకి నేను ఇట్లా చదివినట్టు కనపడుతున్న పేపర్స్ కనపడుతుంది పెట్టండి. కనపడను కదా, నేను కనపడకుండా వాయిస్ వినపడుతుంది. మనకు వాళ్ళ వాయిస్ వినపడలేదు.
మాట్లాడుతున్నారు అదే న్యూస్ చేసినాను.
నేనైతే చెప్తున్నా
స్టార్ట్ చేసాను.
మరి మనకి వినపడాలి కదా.
వాళ్ళందరూ మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారు, మీరే మాట్లాడాలి.
మేడం గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ మేడం.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ అండి. గుడ్ మార్నింగ్.
I will start this webinar, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Today's chief guest, Professor K. Samudha madam, Rector, Andhra University. Today's guest of honor, Dr. K. Seta Manikyam, Associate Professor, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar College of Law, and member Cell for Differently Abled Persons, Andhra University. Today's keynote speaker, Dr. M. Swarnalata, Chairperson, Board of Studies, Department of Sociology and Social Work, and Vice Principal, University Arts and Science College, Kakatiya University, Warangal. Colleagues, participants, press and electronic media, good morning. I am Dr. Subbarao, Director, Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy. I am very happy to say that as per the directions given by UGC New Delhi, we propose to organize this one-day webinar on social inclusion and empowerment of persons with disabilities. In this connection, for the formality's sake, I would like to share few lines on this webinar. Friends, disability inclusion is an essential condition to upholding human rights, sustainable development,
నేను కనపడక్కర్లేదండి.
peace and security.
ఓకే.
It is also central to the promise of the 2030 agenda
ఓకే, ఇక్కడ కనిపిస్తున్నాను.
for
నాది
sustainable
మ్యూట్ పెట్టారు కదా, నాది మ్యూట్ పెట్టేయండి.
to leave no one behind. It is well-known fact that from 1992 onwards, as per the resolution 47/3, the United Nations General Assembly, the International Day of Disabled Persons has been observing every year on December 3. It aims to promote the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities in all spheres of social and development. It is common knowledge that persons with disabilities are less likely to access healthcare, education, employment, and to participate in the community. On December 3rd, this year, during the annual celebration of people with disabilities, the 2020 agenda says, no, not all disabilities are visible, such as mental illness, chronic pain, sight or hearing impairments, diabetes, brain injuries, neurological disorders, among others. According to the WHO World Report on Disability, 15% of the world's population, or more than 1 billion people, are living with disability. As per the National Statistical Office survey conducted during July 2018 to December 2018, overall percentage of persons with disability in our country was estimated at 2.2%. In addition, I would like to share few lines regarding the problems faced by these disabled persons during the COVID-19 crisis. As per the estimations, during the COVID-19 crisis, 1 billion people with disabilities are one of the most excluded groups in our society, facing many hardships. It is also important to say that keeping the eye on the global crisis of COVID-19, UNESCO organized a week-long program on the International Day for Persons with Disabilities from 25th November to 3rd December 2020 on the theme. The theme says that building back better towards an inclusive, accessible, and sustainable post-COVID-19 world by, for, and with persons with disabilities. Further, UNESCO also organized a global awareness raising campaign. The campaign says, tell our stories, enable our rights. This is the campaign. This campaign was put in their UNESCO official social media channels, focusing on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on people living with disabilities. Further, in this context, I would like to say that an integrated approach is required to ensure that persons with disabilities are not left behind. Disability inclusion will result in a COVID-19 response and recovery that better serves everyone, more fully suppressing the virus as well as bullying back better. With these few remarks, now I request today's chief guest, Professor K. Samta Madam, Rector, Andhra University, to inaugurate the webinar and give valuable message.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable speech. Respected Director, Dr. P. Subbarao Garu, Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, Andhra University. Guest of honor, Dr. K. Setamanikyam, Associate Professor, Dr. B. R. Ambedkar College of Law, Andhra University. Today's speaker, Dr. M. Swarnalata, Vice Principal, Kakatiya University, Arts and Science College, Warangal. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all, sir. This webinar is being conducted with an aim to examine and analyze issues such as inequalities, exclusion, and discrimination faced by the people with disabilities in a comprehensive manner for their inclusion and empowerment in all facets of human life. Empowerment is about people being able to have a voice and take control of their own lives and future. Across the globe, persons with disability have been suffering extreme forms of social neglect and exclusion. Poverty, lack of awareness, and public empathy prevent them from entering society as productive individuals. Social stigma and discrimination should be avoided, and they should be offered equal opportunities. Rehabilitation interventions need to be multi-pronged, addressing personal, familial, social, cultural, and economic context of the individual. Health professionals should not only focus on functioning, occupation, and personal recovery, but also should lead the society in advocating for the rights of people with disabilities. When people are assisted in ways that lead to acquisition of new skills and the removal of barriers, they tend to develop a sense of hope, optimism, and self-efficacy, and they decide to work towards their goals. This is a healthy path that allows them to sustain independence. I appreciate the efforts taken by the Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, Andhra University, in conducting this webinar. I wish them all the best in their endeavors. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. I know today you are very busy with our. We are very busy today with our daily our university program. However, you spare your valuable time to us. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes, sir. I am here.
Madam.
Am I audible to you?
Yeah. Madam, welcome. Now I request Dr. Sita Markyam, Madam, Associate Professor, Dr. B. R. Ambedkar College of Law, and member, self for disabled persons, differently abled persons, Andhra University. Please, Madam, please welcome, Madam.
Thank you.
Okay.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries. Esteemed Professor Samita Madam, Honorable Rector, Andhra University, and also the chief guest of today's national webinar on a very pertinent topic of seminal importance, that is social inclusion and empowerment of persons with disabilities. Dr. P. Subbarao Garu, Director, Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, and Dr. M. Swarnalata Madam, keynote speaker for today's webinar, and Dr. Sivaram Krishna, my good friend and faculty of the center, and the other teaching and non-teaching staff of the center, all the participants, students and scholars, my warm greetings to you all. I personally feel that it is more appropriate to hold this virtual seminar on a day after the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, because It is no longer a day of persons with disabilities, but I emphasize that it is a day of persons with special abilities. The annual observance of the International Day of Disabled Persons was proclaimed in 1992 by United Nations General Assembly resolution, as we know. And the observance of the day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights, and well-being of the well-being of persons with disabilities. And it also seeks to increase awareness of gains to be derived from the integration of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economic, and cultural lives. And when I have come across through information superhighway, that is the different themes of the year, WHO, World Health Organization's theme of the year is a day for all. And this theme reflects a growing understanding that disability is a part of the human condition. A day for all, the themes. Sir, not audible? Am I audible to you? Sir, am I audible to you? Am I audible to you? Clearly? Right. So when we talk about themes of the, it is yearly celebrations, no? So every year it has a theme, and here World Health Organization's theme is a day for all. And this theme reflects a growing understanding that disability is a part of the human condition, as I mentioned. In another website, I saw that another theme of the year, not all disabilities are visible theme. And UN, when I visit UN official website, I saw another theme, that is building back better toward a disability, inclusive, accessible, and sustainable post COVID-19. It is the this year's theme I observed. All the themes aim to increase public awareness, understanding, and acceptance of people with disability, and celebrate their achievements and contributions. In this context, I congratulate and appreciate the director for the center for organizing this webinar at right place in right time. And I wish the webinar a grand success. I have been given 2 roles in this program. One is guest of honor. As a guest of honor, I wish for grand success of this webinar. And now the important role as a speaker to explain about legal provisions to protect persons with disabilities. It is my favorite role to play in this context. Sir, I have PPT. Could you ask the technical people how can I present before the audience? Why? Because I am habituated to present the PPTs in Google Classroom. And I think Surendra is there. Excuse me.
Madam,
Cheppandi.
you share your PPT.
Share here share option, more actions option is there.
Content? Share content anywhere.
Share content, okay. Okay.
Madam, are you on the line?
Okay.
Hello? Madam,
Okay. More actions are here.
No, share content అనే ఆప్షన్ ఉంది చూడండి మేడం, మైక్ పక్కన.
మైక్ పక్కన.
షేర్ కంటెంట్.
Here show participants and show conversations. and raise hand
And
and
after
more actions.
afterwards
Mute.
you'll mute, and then you'll have an arrow mark, share content.
ఎవరు వచ్చారు మా
Upward arrow mark ఒకటి ఉంటుంది మేడం, షేర్ కంటెంట్ అని.
Yes. Open share tray.
Okay, yes.
Then
In that
is it visible now? My PPT is visible? Excuse me?
visible లేదు మేడం.
Leda?
లేదు. నో మేడం. ఆ షేర్ కంటెంట్ మీరు ఆల్రెడీ పీపీటీ ఓపెన్ చేసి డెస్క్టాప్ మీద పెట్టండి మేడం.
పెట్టానండి, ఆల్రెడీ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓపెన్డ్.
ఓపెన్ పెట్టిన తర్వాత దాన్ని క్లిక్ చేయండి మేడం, ఆ విండోని. పవర్ పాయింట్ ఏదైతే ఓపెన్ చేశారో అది క్లిక్ చేయండి.
Not visible? Still not visible?
నాట్ విజిబుల్ మేడం.
Okay, could you send me anybody to our chamber?
Yes.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yes.
If the mail is sent to someone's email, if the
Huh.
PPT is sent to someone's email, even I can manage to upload the PPT to the screen. So anyway, anyone can who knows to upload. Even I know to upload it. If you are able to send it to the mail ID, then I can just upload it to the screen.
Can I send it to Subbarao sir mail?
Madam, the consent.
Otherwise, let us go on without PPT, okay? Sir? Later you can send it to participants later, even. Sir, can I proceed without having PPT? So, but Director sir? And later you can circulate among it can be sent to participants afterwards, right? And according to the WHO World Report on Disability, yes, I am presenting my presentation on social inclusion and empowerment of.
చెప్పాను
without having presentation, sharing PPT presentation, I will continue.
Okay, madam, you proceed.
Yeah. Okay. And later let us share this PPT with participants.
Sure.
Okay. And according to WHO World Report on Disability, we have to see the statistics of the disabled persons before discussing about their issues or the problems and legal protection. And according to the WHO World Report on Disability, 15% of the world's population, that is more than 1 billion people, are living with disability. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, isolation, disconnect, disrupted routines, and diminished services, these have greatly impacted the lives and mental well-being of people with disabilities around the world. Looking on the bright side, when we looking on the bright side, we see the success stories of the persons with disabilities who turned their disabilities into abilities. And many people we have seen, right from that is Stephen Hawking to now Virali Modi, Jasmine Khurana. You know, Virala Modi, she filed a petition to make the Indian Railways disabled friendly. Okay, and she said that every person or persons with disabilities deserve to have an inclusive system that helps everybody. Here she talks about the right of the disabled and inclusive system, the necessity of the inclusive system that helps everybody. Because of her petition, railways to be more inclusive, it has received very well, and the changes have been made in all the railway stations in major cities. And coming to Khurana, she is born with cerebral palsy, and when she was insulted in Canadian embassy, friends, she said that I may be physically challenged, but I am a human too. We have a right to human dignity. We have a right to get dignity like all other people. So here, Khurana and Virali Modi, even though they are disabled persons, despite of having disabilities, really they fought for the rights of the disabled persons with disability. And Helen Keller, we know her, very famous author for in America, and Stephen Hawking, the person who doesn't need introduction, and in Andhra University itself for persons with disabilities, seminar hall is named with his name. Okay? That is Stephen Hawking's seminar hall. And despite of their disabilities, really we have seen that they did amazing things. The stories of a few are highlighted by the media, and even in our university also, the specially able students and scholars proved themselves in various fields. On the other side, people with disabilities are undoubtedly among the most vulnerable risk of social exclusion, as various studies clearly show. With the disabilities are socially excluded, not only in India, everywhere in the world. And exclusiveness leaves a sizable lot of population deprived of the fruits of growth. And obviously, inclusiveness is required to provide equality of opportunity in terms of access to right to development. And here we know the obstacles for inclusion of the obstacles for inclusion of the persons with disabilities: lack of access to education, lack of access to vocational training, and they do not, the availability of the housing is another problem, and access to technology, access to transport, and where the Virali Modi, she faced the problem as a disabled person. Okay. And here, coming to the legal protection of persons with disabilities, I would like to start the legal regime to the rights of the people of disability with human rights ideology. I want to start the rights, explaining rights with human rights ideology. And human rights, we know that they are basic rights without which a human cannot survive. And friends, here the human rights comprise within its gamut. What are the components of human rights? They are right to life and liberty, equality, right to freedom of speech and expression and movement, trade, profession or business, freedom of movement particularly, and freedom of thought, conscience, religion, right to work and right to education particularly. And these rights are enshrined in Universal Declaration of Human Rights, friends. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Surprisingly, the UDHR, which is a milestone in this area, it doesn't talk about the, it doesn't cover, it hasn't covered the important aspect of the rights of persons with disabilities. In spite of having, in those days, 10 to 12% of world population, they are disabled persons. Okay. And then, the first convention, friends, which talks about the rights of the peoples with disabilities is ILO Convention. The International Labour Organization Convention, basically, it is on elimination of discrimination in employment and occupation. Elimination of discrimination in employment and occupation. Then here one article, only one article talks in general, the provisions, all the provisions are in general. the general provisions, but the special provisions are mentioned in Article 5 of the this particular convention on elimination of discrimination. Why? Because discrimination is the main suffering faced by the people with disabilities. Okay, and only one article talks about the UDHR, the milestone of the human rights. It is silent about the rights of the people with disabilities and persons with disabilities. But later, ILO convention, which in 1958, it gives a place for persons with disabilities. Later, the proclamation of UN General Assembly 1971. In 1971, a proclamation of United Nations, international instruments, they may be declarations, they may be conventions, and they may be proclamations, and they may be treaties. Generally, these kinds of instruments, they are in the form of conventions, but this proclamation and declarations, they doesn't have enforceability. Okay, only they highlight the rights of the persons. Here, it's a proclamation on mentally retarded persons, which are a group of persons with disabilities. And then in 1975, also a declaration is made for the protection of persons with disabilities. Later in 1983, it is declared as 83 to 92, a decade for PWD people. It is a decade, that decade is devoted to PWD, persons with disabilities. And in 1993 to 2002, Asian Pacific, it was declared, these further 10 years, the period was declared as Asian Pacific Decade of PWD. And during this period, for the first time in our country, one legislation particularly for persons with disabilities, it was passed, okay, to give effect to the international instrument. And finally, in 2006, a convention, United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities 2006. It is not out of the context. Why? Because the national legislations are domestic legislations. They are for the enactment of the legislations, the main sources, they are nothing but the international conventions. And besides these international instruments, how much time are you giving me, Director sir? More half an hour till 12? Can I? Okay. And the other international instruments in which the rights of the persons with disabilities are added, they are Millennium Development Goals. In Millennium Development Goals also, the protection of the disabled persons, they are mentioned in Millennium Development Goals. After Millennium Development Goals, now we are in Sustainable Development Goals. Okay. In this international instrument, and it sets Sustainable Development Goals. In Sustainable Development Goals also, the protection of the disabled person and the rights of the persons with disability, they are discussed and enshrined. And they talk about to protect the rights and dignity of PWD, to promote and protect and ensure the full enjoyment of human rights, and to ensure equality under law. These are the objectives of the almost all the international conventions, proclamations, and declarations also. And friends, coming to national perspective, then when we talk about national legal regime to protect persons with disabilities, first of all, we have to talk about the constitutional provisions. Okay. And constitutional provisions, we can talk about preamble. A preamble, it's a it states about the objectives and goals to be achieved by the country. That is, it has philosophical contents. It has, and what are the main things they are to be achieved? They are justice. All we know the goals, the preambular goals, constitutional goals. They are nothing but equality, liberty, and equality, liberty, freedoms. All the freedoms. Okay, and without having discrimination, on par with, along with all the citizens, the persons with disabilities, they are also, they should be given all the freedoms and the rights, the basic rights. And the next one, which we have to talk about in constitutional provisions, is fundamental rights. Okay. And in fundamental rights, they talk about civil and political rights. The civil and political rights are there in fundamental rights, and all the civil and political rights, the persons with disability, Article 14, equality, Article 21, that is personal life and liberty, which includes dignity. The life doesn't mean not only the existing, the mere normal life with dignity. It was emphasized through judicial process, through many judicial pronouncements. It talks about, it was held in many famous judgments about human dignity, which is very, very important for protection of the rights of persons with disabilities. So all that, the POD people, they are entitled to enjoy all the fundamental rights. And coming to directive principles of state policy, as you know, just this is a reminder or recapping only. And directive principles of state policies, they talk about social and economic rights. It talked about the provisions, speak about the social and economic and cultural rights also. Here, social and economic rights, you know, directive principles of state policies, the aim of DPSP, it is to eliminate inequalities in the society, as you know. And a particular provision is devoted to peoples with disabilities along with the depressed people. That is Article 41. Article 41, it imposes a duty on the state. The state shall, within the limits of its economic capacity and development, make effective provisions for securing the right to work, right to education, and to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness, and also disablement. Okay, so disablement and in other cases of undeserved want, here the right to work, right to education, right to public assistance in cases of unemployment, it should be provided to disabled people. Okay, this is the provision which is there. These are the constitutional provisions which are there to protect persons with disabilities. And coming to after the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities Convention, when India, signatory country to that convention, because of the legislative empathy, this new enactment 4 years back, Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, it was enacted. What is the background of RPWD 2016? That is Rights of Persons with Disabilities. I'll call it RPWD from now onwards. What is the background of this act is United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities 2006 convention is the main source of this present act. And as I told you, it is a signatory to the said convention, and India ratified the convention in 2007, and it is considered necessary to implement the convention aforesaid. And friends, this act, 2016 act, it replaces 1995 previous act. And the previous legislation, it has confined to only 7 disabilities. That is the main difference between 1995 legislation and 2016 legislation, which protects the rights of the persons with disabilities. Okay. And here the principles which are enshrined in 2006 convention, they are brought into the legislation, that is RPD legislation 2016. The principles here, they have to be remembered and noted and remembered, that is principles of empowerment of persons with disabilities. Empowerment of persons with disabilities are very, very important for inclusive growth. Okay, here the first principle, it is respect for inherent dignity, individual autonomy, including the freedom to make one's own choices and independence of persons. Okay. He should be given a right to freedom and non-discrimination. Discrimination is prohibited. Discrimination against PWD persons, it is an offense according to this new act. And full and effective participation and inclusion in society. Okay, that is more important. Full and effective participation, and every person with disability should be given, provided, should be provided an opportunity to be included in the growth of the nation. And respect for difference and acceptance of persons with disabilities as part of human diversity and humanity. I need not tell you about equality of opportunities. They should be given equal opportunities along with the other citizens. Here the point, it is to be noted. And respect for the evolving capacity of children with disabilities, and respect for the right of children with disabilities to preserve their identities. How can we give identity to them? By providing education. The educational provisions are there in the Act. This is the BEAR Act. And in this Act, second chapter is, it is the first chapter. The first chapter, it gives definition for the terms used in the enactment, that is the legislation. And one chapter, it is dedicated to education of the children. Okay. And different schemes and how disabled children should be provided education. So all these things, they are there in this act. And the important terms, I told you, the important terms: barrier, discrimination. Okay, there should not be any barrier to for the disabled persons for their development. This is the thing. No, here, what is barrier? What is discrimination? Also, it is defined in the and friends, barrier is defined like this. Barrier means any factor including communicational, cultural, economic, environmental, institutional, political, social, attitudinal, and structural factors which hampers the full and effective participation of persons with disability in the society. This is the barrier. There should not be a barrier for the development of the persons with disabilities. And the barrier, it is also defined clearly in the statute. This is section 1, class D. Okay, the class C. So it includes communicational barrier, cultural barrier. There should not be any communicational barrier. There should not be any cultural barrier or economic barrier or institutional barrier. They should be allowed to all the institutions without having discrimination. And what is discrimination? Also, it is defined in the we use this word discrimination everywhere. Any kind of discrimination. Okay, the term is widened by giving interpretation, that is any kind of discrimination against disabled persons, it is prohibited. And person with benchmark disability is defined. This is very, very important. Person with benchmark disability, he will be provided special measures and special benefits, special privileges. They are here. Person with benchmark disability, it is not less than 40%. It should be certified by certifying authority. Okay. And what is establishment? What is public building? These are the words which are used in the statute. Okay. PWD Act. And here public building, whenever public building, it is mentioned in the Act, public building includes not only government but private building also, which is used and accessed for public at large. You please remember this thing. So here all the private institutions are also imposed a duty not to show discrimination against persons with disabilities. And what is special disability? It is also defined in the definition part. Specified disability means the disability as specified in the schedule. One schedule is annexed to this enactment, and in that schedule 21 disabilities are added. Okay, and in the previous legislation only it dealt with 7 disabilities, whereas the new enactment, it enhanced 21 disabilities for the benefit of the persons with disabilities. Okay, and here 17 chapters are there. Okay, just briefly I am telling you. Chapter 1, it talks about definition of the terms which are used in the legislation, and chapter 2, rights and entitlements of the PWD, and chapter 3, as I told you, the education facilities which are to be provided for persons with disability, and chapter 4, it talks about skill development and employment. Okay, and they should be equipped with, the persons with disabilities, they should be equipped with skill development and employment, and they should be given social security, health, rehabilitation and recreation. The important thing is rehabilitation centers, they are to be established at state level, district level and regional centers also. At regional level also, the rehabilitation centers shall be established, and special provisions for persons with disabilities with high support needs. Okay, and we can see a sea change in the attitude of institutions, in attitude of public also. We can see the sea change in the access, providing access to persons with disabilities, and duties and responsibilities of the appropriate governments. This act imposed duties on appropriate governments also, and registration of institutions, that is the civil society, NGOs registration also, it is facilitated by this act. And certification of specified disabilities, there should not be any delay. The certified authorities, they have to give certificates within the time, and central and state advisory board on disability and district level committees are to be established under this act, and special courts are also to be established. It seems that they are not established so far, since only 4 years have passed, after only 3 years after gazetted notification is given. And there should be a national fund for the benefit of the persons with disabilities, and state funding, national funding as well as state funding. And here one chapter, that is 16, chapter 16 is, it gives penalties and imprisonment also to the people who violated this act. Okay, and those who have shown discrimination against the peoples with disabilities, they will be penalized under this act. That is the important provision. Okay. And rights and entitlements, that is also we discussed. And here additional benefits such as reservations in higher education, not less than 5%, government jobs not less than 4%, and reservation in allocation of land, and poverty alleviation schemes, 5% allotment. And these benefits, they have been provided for persons with disabilities. And here every child with benchmark disability, which is there in schedule, I'll tell about the schedule also, the 21 disabilities which are there in the schedule. Just I'll touch upon the schedule also. And here every child with benchmark disability between the age group of 6 and 18 years shall have the right to free education, and till 18 years he has a right to get free education. Okay. And government funded educational institutions as well as the government recognized institutions will have to provide inclusive education to the children with disabilities. And for strengthening the even the PM campaign, okay, it is also it talks about accessibility in public buildings. So our university is also, it has shown the concern towards persons with disabilities. A cell was established and the privileges and the facilities are given to the persons with disabilities, and they achieved many things, like they got good jobs and they got medals, they achieved so many higher things also. Here, so penalties, offences, I told you. And coming to the schedule, that is special disabilities. The 21 disabilities, they belong to physical disability, intellectual disability, mental behavior, disability caused due to different cause, and multiple disabilities like locomotor disability. More and more disabilities are included in this. Even the good thing, acid attack victims are added in the list, in the schedule. 21 disabilities, acid attack victims are also considered as persons with disabilities. Why? Because these incidents are taken place. And visual impairments, blindness and low visions. And intellectual disabilities, specific learning disabilities, and autism spectrum. Autism, it is the problem which is prevailed in the children by birth. They are mentally disabled persons and they should be given special attention. And friends, here we have to mention about judicial empathy. Okay, and judicial empathy, how it has shown it concern towards persons with disabilities. And the apex court, it directed states as well as UTs, union territories. The Supreme Court, on a petition, it has responded that, and it also directed all states in the India and along with union territories to file reports regarding compliance of provisions of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. Okay, and here the point it is to be noted, judiciary directed all the states and union territories to give annual report about the compliance of provisions of Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. What you have done regarding the provisions of the PWD Act. And said the new statute operated in a broader spectrum to protect the rights of people with disabilities. And the court said the states and UTs, they must realize that under this act, their responsibilities have increased and the executing authorities must give effect it with quite promptitude. Okay, so here really judiciary role to bring human rights orientation into their judgments by recognizing the rights of the importance of the protection of the rights of the persons with disabilities. Okay. Then friends, in detail, because of the paucity of the time, I cannot, I'm not able to discuss all the provisions of the 2016 Act. And here to conclude, I would say that action speaks louder than the words spoken. And the stories of the famous people overcoming disabilities as a source of inspiration for anybody who needs a motivational boost, and spreading awareness of visible and invisible disabilities and the protection of PWD through law. It's crucial as the world continues to fight against virus. Being a member of society, it is our bounden duty to spread awareness and sensitize the people to assure human dignity to this section of the people for their inclusion, for nation's growth, as well as to protect their right to development. So I feel that I am greatly honored to participate in this webinar. And once again, I thank the organizers, particularly Director Professor Subbarao Garu, for giving me this opportunity and also putting efforts. I appreciate your efforts to uphold the dignity of specially abled persons. And let all of us join the hands to include, support, and encourage specially abled persons to set and reach their goals. Friends, thank you. Thank you, one and all. Not audible.
Thank you for your valuable information on disabilities. Unfortunately, we may miss your PowerPoint presentation.
Sir, I'll send it to your mail and you please circulate it.
Sure. I will send it to all participants. Thank you so much, madam. Now I request Dr. M. Swarnalata madam. Madam is Chairperson, Board of Studies, Department of Sociology and Social Work, and Vice Principal, University Arts and Science College, Kakatiya University, Warangal. Please, madam, welcome.
Am I visible?
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Good afternoon, all, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm happy to meet you all today. And I'm deeply honored for being included in this great program.
Okay.
Sir, my respects to our chief guest, Professor K. Samata Garu, Rector, Andhra University, and our guest of honor, Dr. K. Sita Manikyam Garu, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar College of Law, and yourself, Dr. P. Subbarao Garu, the Director of this Social Inclusion and Exclusion and Inclusion Center, and my dear friends, teachers, scholars, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I congratulate the director for coming up with this so thoughtful topic on the occasion of International Day for Disabled Persons, which has been celebrated on December 3rd. And the theme of this topic is, of this day for this year is Building Back Better toward a Disability, Inclusive, Accessible and Sustainable Post-COVID-19 World. So the onus is on the post-COVID situations, and we are eagerly waiting for the post-COVID situations. Anyway, what we are facing now as humans in this world are no less than a disabled person. We are all disabled now. So we can relate our experiences with the disabled persons, what they have been feeling all through these years when they were limited in their confined, limited and restricted in their own places, and when they are discriminated, when they are oppressed, when they are given no choice of freedom to exercise their life decisions, to live dignitily. So all these things that we can relate to the disabled persons, what we have been experiencing just because of Corona pandemic. Sir, 1 second. One second, sir. Okay. So I am going to present this keynote on disability and the accommodating public spaces, sir. And I hope it will help you in your academic pursuits, in social modeling of the disability and restructuring the social spaces. And we are also experiencing new kind of situation, that is new normal. So this new normal forced us to adjust ourselves to new kind of lifestyles and newer equipment that requires us to wear a headwear, a physical gears and all that to protect from the COVID. So this also applies to the disabled persons, which they are wearing special appliances to move around in the social spaces or to move around or to maintain their life and to get their life done. And also we are also experiencing this social distancing, and which is also can be related to the disabled persons. They are they are distanced from the society, they are ignored a lot, they are marginalized a lot. So this social distancing also can help us to understand their agony. And this the problems of disability can be viewed from different dimensions. Since I am a sociologist, we require a different kind of perspective to look at the problem of the disability. We have several models in vogue to study the disability. Like we have medical models, rehabilitative models, rights-based model, and finally the social model. Today, I am going to press on the social model of disability and how to deal with the disability through the lens of the social model. Sir, am I audible, sir? Hello? Hello?
Okay, madam, it is audible.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, I don't know. My video is not there. I don't know how I am presenting myself. Anybody can help me? How to do that?
Yeah, just a minute. ఈ విజిబుల్స్ మేడంకి
Madam,
Sir, I am not seeing myself on the screen, so I just want to look at myself.
you want to look, you cannot see yourself, madam.
Yes, sir.
You cannot see yourself. You can see down at the corner, you can see. Corner right side, you can see for yourself.
It's not there, sir.
Did you turn on your camera?
Yes, it is. It is on. Unless I turn on my camera, you cannot see me, right?
No. In the right side of the corner bottom, you can find out yourself. Like.
Anyway, it's not there.
Your name, madam?
I'm Swarnalata, Dr. Swarnalata.
I'll just get in contact with you, madam. You just hold on.
Okay. Anyway, sir, let us. I shall try to share my thing. Open share tray. Screen share. Application window. Your entire screen. Application window. Disabilities. Share.
Madam, put your PPT from the beginning.
That's what I'm trying, sir. Still we are unable to. This is the kind of another disability that we are facing these days.
Yeah, that is true.
Several disabled things are there. Mm.
Yeah. It's not-
Yeah, anyway, let us start. Whatever is available now. Sir, there are a few facts that the UNO has come up with after several studies throughout the world. So it has observed that it is a global public health issue. Disability is not at all an individual problem, but it is a public health issue. It is affecting 1 in 7 in the world population. So we can imagine how rampant the incidence is in the world. And also another important thing is it is also a human rights issue. Why it is a human rights issue means the disabled persons are getting discriminated. They are not given proper spaces. They are excluded from all
Madam,
developmental practices.
Madam, excuse me.
Sir.
Just a minute. Please on your camera.
Oh, it is not coming.
Yeah.
Are
On
you
your-
able to see my PowerPoint share?
Yeah.
It is there, right? Thank God.
First you are on your camera.
Okay. It is there. And
Yeah. It is visible.
And also you are able to see the share?
Yeah.
Or screen share is there?
Do you mean PPT?
Yes,
PPT.
PPT.
PPT is not visible here.
Okay, sir. I will try that.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay.
If PPT is there, it is not going. I am not going to be visible.
Madam,
Sir.
Madam, already you turned your camera, no?
But there is a problem here, sir. If I turn on the camera, the PPT is not seen. And if I turn automatically it is turned off. It is turning off. The camera is getting off.
Okay, you share your screen, madam.
Yes,
PPT.
I'm going to share the screen. That's all.
PPT you share. You go ahead.
So we are stuck at facts of disability.
Okay. It is visible.
Sir, I may not be seen. Let it be, sir. Anyway, PPT is there, and I am audible. That's enough for us right now.
Okay, madam. Continue. Thank you.
So we are contented with this disability right now.
Sure. No problem.
Sir. And this regarding development priorities. So why it has become a human rights issue? Because their human rights are getting denied constantly. We are not able to recognize their needs, and we are not be able to provide proper spaces in the human communities. So that is why since their rights are being denied, it has become a human rights issue. So that is the reason why the UN has spotlighted on the human rights issue. And regarding that, its explanation for that is discriminated, prone to violence, prejudice, and denial of autonomy and to care. Sir, pardon me?
Okay. Continue, madam. No problem.
Okay. So we are prejudiced towards them because once a person is a disabled person, we immediately jump to conclusions regarding their abilities in performing their duties or in taking services from them or giving services to them. In all walks of life, we carry certain kind of prejudices that may affect their identity, social identity and self-identity. And also the denial of autonomy. This denial of autonomy also is like we are not letting them to lead their life on their own terms because they need some kind of dependency. They need some kind of care. So this care provision or this service we are giving as if we are having some mercy on them. It is not like that. It shouldn't be like that. They too have equal right as a human, just like we possess. So it is also a human rights issue. And also barriers in access to care. There are several factors that are creating hurdles, or they are coming in the way of the disabled persons to get access to the care. That is why it has become a human rights issue. And another one is development priority. Why? Because this has become a development priority means in Millennium Development Goals or Sustainable Development Goals, just now I was telling, affecting 1 in 7 in the world population. If you are targeting a sustainable development model of development, you need to address, you need to include all the population into your developmental models. If you leave aside certain populations, certain sections of population, you cannot achieve this sustainable development. Simple, for example, if a family is having a disabled person, there most of the family income share will go to the care and needs of the disabled person if they properly attended to the disabled person. Or otherwise, if everybody is perfectly fit and with the proper abilities, physical abilities, they would earn more income. So in that way, that family will be placed higher than the other persons where the person who is having disability in that family. In such a way, if continuously it affects the ability of the family to grow or to develop. In a larger context, in a community level, in a state level, in a national level, or at global level, this thing gets multiplied, and this multiplied burden will affect the global development issues. That's why our development priority should include all the population into your development fold, and disabled persons are one such lot. That's why this has become development priority for the United Nations. And disability and poverty are mutually reinforce each other. This has been evident in several studies, and it is also continuing to be so. And incidence is more in developing and underdeveloped countries. And regarding the World Health Organization observation, it has this disability has 3 dimensions. One is impairment in a person's body structure or function or mental functioning. And examples of impairments includes loss of a limb, loss of vision, or memory loss, and activity limitation. It is difficulty in seeing, hearing, walking, or problem solving, or any such other activity condition. So there will be such activity limitation. And another one is participation restrictions. This, our social model includes this kind of includes in removing these kind of restrictions in the social life. So this participation restrictions includes in normal daily activities such as working, engaging in social and recreational activities, and obtaining health care and preventive services. This we will be seeing in later other PPT, my another slides also. So I'm limiting there itself. And another thing is we have the United Nations also has one convention, come up with one convention on rights of persons with disability. That is CRPD. So this PRBD recognizes people with disabilities as those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which, when combined with negative attitudes or environmental barriers, prevent them from taking a full and active role in society. So ఇక్కడ మనకి అర్థం అవ్వాల్సింది ఏంటి అంటే disability in itself cannot confine the person in acting or in interacting with the society, but the environment, the society itself is limiting the disability, a disabled person in interacting with the society. So the negative attitudes of the environment or society prevent them from taking a full and active role in the society. So the CRPD emphasizes that people with disabilities are an integral part of every society. We should be aware that disability cannot be wiped out from the face of the society as such or on the globe as such. It is there, it will be there with us. So we need to accommodate them it as a norm, a social norm, to accommodate them. And also we need to take it, view it as a normal thing, just like any other normal individual. A disabled person also is a normal individual who possesses all the abilities, mental, physical conditions that require attention from the society. And it commands governments and communities to identify and dismantle the many barriers that limit their chances to fully participate in society and community activities. This requires a lot of contribution from the society and from the governments and civil society at large. And it also requires our shift in the paradigm, thinking of paradigms. So that's why we are here to discuss on that. And the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act of 2016 of India tries to define the disability in its own terms. So here it is observing that person with disability means a person with long-term physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairment, which in interaction with barriers hinders his full and effective participation in society equally with others. It is also in tandem with the CRPD observation. Here, whatever the impairment is there, whether it is a physical, physical impairment, mental impairment, intellectual or sensory impairment, when interacting with other people, interacting with the society, interacting with the public spaces, that is why it is calling it as a barriers. It hinders his full effective participation. In doing so, this interaction hinders him in participating, his full effective participation in society equally with others, as we do. మనం ఎలాగైతే చేస్తున్నామో so this is called sorry.
మేడం మీ దగ్గర మ్యూట్ చేయండి ప్లీజ్. మ్యూట్ యువర్ సెల్ ఫోన్ ఆర్ ఎనీథింగ్.
I did not have any.
ఓకే స్టార్ట్. ఓకే మేడం, కంటిన్యూ.
Okay, sir. So another one is person with benchmark disability. This means a person with not less than 40%. Why the act is recognized stopped at 40%? When a person with less than 40% also faces equally discrimination in the society, but that does not come in his way of living. But if the disability is more than 40%, this will definitely impair the person to act to take active participation in the society. That's why it has fixed at 40%. And there is another meaning for the this benchmark, like in sanctioning pensions to the disabled persons, and in giving reservations in employment and in educational institutions, and in any such other cases where a public restriction, public mandate come into force, this 40% is observed. So that is why it has fixed this benchmark at 40%. But we cannot take this benchmark disability as a standard when defining disability in general context. That is the reason why it has a little bit limitation in this person with benchmark disability. I assume that hopefully the other legal persons may give clarification on this part. But my observation is that this person with benchmark disability is mostly included in this act to accommodate in sanctioning pensions, reservations, and all that. So here, a person with not less than 40% of a specified disability, where specified disability has not been defined in measurable terms, and includes a person with disability, a person with disability where specified disability has been defined in measurable terms as certified by the certifying authority. Here, the certification is needed where our public welfare schemes come into vogue. So when you want something from the public utility services, or you need to be certified by the public agency, that certifying agency will look at your disability and certify the percent of disability you are possessing. So that is the reason why. And also one more thing is here, it is one more clarification that comes into my mind is that here it is specifying 40% of a specified disability, where specified disability has not been defined in measurable terms and includes a person with disability. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఒక పర్సన్ కి ఉన్న డిజేబిలిటీని ప్రాపర్ గా we cannot define under any particular category, but that person is invariably a disabled person. In such cases, this person with benchmark disability comes in handy to measure the disability. So I hope I am clear with that. Is it clear, sir?
Okay, madam, it is clear. Continue. Madam, it is clear. No problem.
Okay, sir, I'm going to another slide.
Yeah.
Here we have different types of disabilities as recognized by the RPWD Act. We have around 21 disabilities, among which I would like to throw light on few of the aspects. One of the biggest disability causing factor in the Indian population is blindness. This blindness occurs from the mostly in low income groups, malnourishment among the mothers, and improper care at the prenatal and postnatal care thing. And leprosy cured persons. These days, leprosy is not a big problem, but the leprosy will leave the individual to with some disability. So this disability will be there throughout his life. So for those persons also, they are also coming under the leprosy. They are also coming under the disability category. And locomotor disability. Locomotor disability disables the person or impairs the person to move around, and they cannot do their things on their own if their hands are impaired, and they cannot go on their own if their legs are impaired, and so on and so forth. In such cases, these disabled persons need special care and special assistive devices so that they can do their things on their own. And dwarfism, it may be a hereditary, and we cannot do anything, but at least we can give some social space to them. And intellectual disability, mental illness, and autism spectrum disorder. Most of the time, this kind of disorder go unnoticed among the children, and at a later age it is coming up, and people are unable to find solutions for that. So there is no cure for this autism, but we need to give special care to the autism children, and we have to address to their psychological and social issues. And many other things are there: speech and language disability, thalassemia, hemophilia, sickle cell disease, and all that. And acid attack victims. This acid attack victims is not the individuals, that is not coming out of the individual's own deed, or it is not coming from as a hereditary, or it is not an accident, but it is being committed by some other person to be to harass the victim. So in such cases, there are several other problems come into force in dealing with the acid attack victims, and several other things are there. We will move on to the other slide. So this, I am giving you a brief stats of the world and India. It is not necessary. It is keep on giving the same thing. About 15% of the world's population are equals to 1 billion people of worldwide are living with disability, of whom 2 to 4% experience significant difficulties in functioning. this global estimate for disability is on the rise. We have to note this point. This global estimate for disability is on the rise due to population aging and the rapid spread of chronic diseases, as well as improvements in the methodologies used to measure them. What are these diseases or improvements in the methodologies like? Let us coming to the diseases. We have lifestyle diseases that are keep on increasing due to our lifestyle. Sir, these lifestyle diseases include diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, obesity, cancer, and such other diseases that are coming under lifestyle diseases. If you modify our lifestyles a little bit nearer to the nature, or adopting healthy lifestyles, proper food habits, proper sleeping cycles, proper exercise, we can overcome most of these disabilities. But nothing is in our hands. So another one is accidents. These accidents may occur due to falls, injuries, vehicle accidents, and violence through war, individual disputes, or factionism, or such other things. And another one is illness. Illness may be mental health disorders, congenital disorders, or heredity, or some other illness that is being occurred in later on life or through age. So these are all diseases, chronic diseases. And regarding improvements in the methodologies used to measure disabilities, there are new disability measures are coming up. In the earlier lecture, Sita Manikam madam has pointed out that in the 1995 Act, there were few identified disabilities. But when coming to newer Act in 2016, the disabilities have gone up to 21. So this difference has come up because of the improvements in the methodologies we adopt to measure the disability. So, and this World Health Organization estimate is that about 200 million people need glasses or other low vision devices and do not have access to them. This is the very rampant problem throughout the world, not only in India. About 200 million. That means 2% maybe. Yeah, 1 billion people. Out of 1 billion people, 200 million people need glasses, and 70 million people need a wheelchair regarding locomotor disability and such other conditions. And out of this 70 million, only 5 to 15% have the access to one. So it shows that how much we have to do for these people to get access to the public spaces. And 360 million people globally have moderate to profound hearing loss, and only 10% of global needs of hearing aids are met. So this is where our intervention is needed. As academicians, as policymakers, as civil society, we need to address these gaps in the disability care. And here also, what are the difficulties they are facing that has been observed by the WHO? Half of the people with disabilities cannot afford health care. That means they are poverty ridden. So here also they need, these other percent of people need interventions from the nations, from the citizenry, and public funding. And people with disabilities have generally poorer health, lower education levels, fewer economic opportunities, and higher rates of poverty than people without disability. This is due to many obstacles they face in their everyday life and due to lack of services available to them. So here also it is critically showing the obstacles they are facing and what we have to do. Here we need to address to their problems and try to remove their obstacles and give services to them as a nation and as a citizenry, responsible citizenry. And disability is now understood to be a human rights issue. So this is about the disability difficulty. And regarding India, we are living with 2.2% population, with 2.3% in rural and 2% in urban areas. And give me a minute, sir.
Like, time at the end.
Sir, am I given proper ample time to continue on, sir?
Yeah, continue yourself, madam. No problem.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Okay.
So we have, according to 2011 census, the rural population is more, that is 2.24% in rural and 2.17% in urban. And it is more in male, 2.4% in male, and females it is less than, it is 2%. That is, the rate is 1.9% is higher than the females. And the rate of the percent of different disabilities are like this. Seeing is 18.8%, hearing 18.9%, speech is 7.5%, movement is 20.3%, mental retardation 7.6%, mental illness 2.7%, multiple disabilities 7.9%, and any other illnesses that may happen because of any other reason, they are 18.4%, sir. Regarding Andhra Pradesh, the shall I go with this statistics or shall I skip this?
Okay, madam, go it thoroughly.
Okay, sir. So the male population with disabilities are 12,24,459, while female are 10,42,148. In total, in Andhra Pradesh, the disabled population stands at 22,66,607. And seeing disability is 3,98,144. Hearing disability 3,34,292. Speaking disability 2,19,543. Mentally retarded are 1,32,380, while mentally ill are 43,169. With regard to others, it is 4,09 or 4,09,775, while multiple disability stands at 1,90,370 people. So these are the stats that are posing a challenge on the face of the policymakers to come up with proper policies and to come up with proper decisions to deal with the disability problem in the state or in the country. And we have several acts in place to deal with the disability and to address the issues of the disabled persons. One such act is promulgated in 1995, the Persons with Disabilities Act 1995. This is aimed at providing equal opportunities, protection of rights and full participation. Another one is the Rehabilitation Council of India Act, RCI Act of 1992. This is aimed at providing rehabilitation services to the disabled persons. And the National Trust Act 1999, it is framed to provide funds to the disabled persons in pursuing their education, in pursuing their employment needs and health and such other needs. And another one is Mental Health Act of 1987. This is this has come in place to protect the needs of the mental health disorder persons. And another one is the present one is the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, which I also read about the definition and all that things. This also has come up in place of the Persons with Disability Act 1995. This also is aimed at providing equal proper opportunities and recognizing the rights of the disabled as human rights and ensuring full participation, proper rehabilitation in the society, and providing social spaces, public utility places, disabled friendly in a disabled friendly manner. So this is the act that is in place now, and several other welfare programs are there, which I have identified, which are important, that I placed here. Several other programs are also there in place. They are nation specific and state specific. The brief ones are here. This is Accessibility India campaign, research and development. This research and development is most essential integral part of welfare of the disabled persons. Unless there is proper research and development is there, we cannot give them proper care and we cannot help them to integrate into the society as a normal person, just like a normal person. In doing so, we need to give them proper assistive devices, and lot of technology should be adopted. And for that, we need to earmark certain budgetary sanctions to help promote research and development in this area. And this is Udit project. Udit project is this is for differently abled persons. They will have, just like Aadhaar card, they will have their own ID, and this ID will give them proper identity in seeking financial assistance from the public agencies, public institutions, or government institutions. Another one is National Action Plan for Skill Development. This we are now calling it as NSQF, National Skill and Quality, something like that. So this action plan for skill development is also accommodating disabled persons and trying to impart skills to the disabled person, what they are able to do in a tailor-suit manner, so that they can participate in the economic activities and earn their livelihoods. And being they are disabled rehabilitation, sir.
Madam.
Assistance to disabled persons for purchase, fitting of aids, appliances, National Fellowship for Students with Disabilities, National Overseas Scholarship for Students with Disabilities. This scheme is, I hope, not in much. People are not much aware about this scheme, but this scheme is a wonderful scheme that will help the disabled persons to seek foreign career opportunities and foreign education in foreign universities. So they will provide overseas scholarship that includes tuition fees and maintenance fees also, and this will be sanctioned at the time of the once they get admission into a particular university in the foreign country. So it may be around 10 to 15 lakhs. So any person with disability can go for this overseas scholarship, and it is a wonderful initiative by the government to give assistance to the disabled persons. This also empowers them to seek foreign educational opportunities, and pre and post matric scholarship for students, and free coaching for the students, and incentives to private sector employers for providing employment to persons with disability. This is also another important aspect, welfare measure taken by the government. This helps the disabled person to seek employment in private sector. Any private sector employer who are engaging the services of the disabled persons, the government is ready to compensate whatever the loss occurred to the employer due to the by giving the employment to the disabled persons. Because if an able person is engaged in place of disabled person, he would be performing more better services and will be earning more income. But this is an opportunity loss for the employer. So in order to compensate that loss, the government will be giving some incentives to private sector employees for providing employment to the persons. This will help the private employers to give employment to the disabled persons without any hesitation. And another one is National Fund for Persons with Disabilities under Section 86 RPWD Act of 2016, National Award for the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities 214. This is also another important, wonderful initiative by the central government. This is recognizing the persons with disabilities who are excelling in their own fields of activities, and it is giving away the national awards in recognition of their services, their activities in their own fields. And another one is National Handicapped Finance Development Corporation, Government of India. This is NHFDC. We call it as NHFDC. It is also a corporation, just like any other corporation for SCs and all that. So this will help the these handicapped persons to get education loans. And Divyang Jan Swavlambana Yojana, this is for self-employment. And Vishesh Microfinance Yojana, this also will help them to save their incomes. And with microfinancing thing, they will start their own employment or better their living condition. So all these are welfare measures in place to help the disabled persons to take care of themselves without depending much on the society or on their family members. And our next slide is on the disability and society interlinkages. This is also another wonderful aspect which I want to throw light. Here we have several dimensions that are affecting the ability of the disabled persons and how they are getting affected. There is a interlinkage between the disability and social linkage. So that how it is affecting, let us examine. We have in the first place age, gender, degree of disability, social category and place of residency as parameters and their linkage with the disability. Let us go one by one. Age is one factor that has a linkage with the society. If it is a child, it has a different dimension. We have to look at that problem in a different dimension. And if it is a gender, age means it will cover childhood, early childhood, and young age, elderly age. And when it comes to gender, it is the women who are suffering a lot. If they are having their by being female itself, it is a burden for her to live in the society. But being disabled women, it is a doubly burden thing for the women. And degree of disability, how much disability you are incurring. If it is visible disability, it affects in a different way. If it is not visible, it is affecting in a different way. And if it is affecting your locomotor abilities, it is in a different manner. So like this, we have, depending upon the degree of disability, the dependency or disability in the society happens. And social category. Our social category also affects our dealing with the society, our interaction with the society. It may be caste, it may be class, it may be our religion, it may be our whatever community, anything. And place of residence also, where you are residing also matters a lot in terms of disability, because in urban places it is a different thing and in rural places it is a different thing. Most of the times in rural relations, they are primary relations, so community also will help dealing with the disabled problem. But in urban spaces, everybody is on their own, so they require certain other kind of assistances in the urban environment. So place of residence also requires different treatment. And coming to the accessibility barriers, here we have what are the barriers that are limiting them in accessing the social resources, economic resources or any other resource. They are attitudes, our own self attitude and the society attitude. Our own attitude means because of the inferiority complex that we got developed over a period of time since our childhood to this day. It keeps on accumulating in our minds in accessing the social resources. We ourselves will ridden with the low self-esteem. So our self attitude bars us in interacting with the society, and the negative attitudes of the maybe family members or from the community or from the society at large. These attitudes also bars the handicapped person to interact with the society. And cultural barrier and economic barrier. Economic barrier, one such barrier that is constantly will be there throughout your life, because disability and poverty are go hand in hand. In such cases, this economic barrier is the primary barrier that hinders the development of the disabled person. And education also. In seeking education, for example, children with special needs, they need special kind of facilities in the schools, and they kind of special kind of treatment in the schools, which we cannot do so in the normal school setting. For these children, we have to give special education in specialized institutions. And I doubt how many of the parents are aware of the special schools, and how many of the parents can afford to send their children to the special care institutions. And also there is a problem of sending away the children to the special care institutions. There the children will be away from their families, because these special care institutions are located in mostly in cities or second grade towns. So in such cases, the people living in rural areas or in the other remote areas, they have to part with their children, or the children have to be parted with their families. So these children are on their own when they are placed in the special care institutions. So in such case, they have to trade off between the family and the future prospects. So this special care education also is an important thing that will help them to overcome their physical barriers in future. And transportation also. This transportation facilities, if you provide proper transportation facilities, mobility is not at all a big problem for the disabled persons. But what we do is, most of the time, if we see the trains, or if we see the buses or any other public transport system, we see lot of the time very few seats are reserved for the disabled persons. But particularly when coming to buses, it becomes very difficult for them to climb on the stairs also, to come into the bus also. There is no problem for them to hop into the bus through a ramp or something like that. So in such cases, they need some assistance from other people. It is a kind of dependency, or in most of the time, they curtail their movements in the society. So transportation is one kind of barrier. And society itself is a barrier, because we in social spaces, just a moment. Sorry for the inconvenience, sir.
Okay, no problem, madam. Continue.
So society is also a big problem, posing a big barrier to the disabled persons, because we see disabled persons are a different lot, and we assume that they need not be included in the social spaces or public spaces. It is not so. They are also just like us individuals. They are also having human rights just like us, and they need to be treated equally on par with the other people, and while giving care, special care must be given to them. So this society must develop such an attitude to include the disabled persons into the social spaces. And environment means it includes ecological environment and social environment. So in ecological environment, certain weather conditions become barriers for them, and in human environments, as we said, I have narrated earlier, all these factors also come into the human environment. So how these issues, age, gender, and all the variables and these barriers are resulting in the disability, affecting the disabled person. One is dependency, handicap, and resulting in illiteracy of the disabled person, limiting their mobility, and lack of opportunity for leisure. They are denied of recreational facilities, because most of our recreational facilities does not provide for the special needs of the disabled persons. In such cases, they limit themselves to the home and workplace only, and the restrictions on life, restrictions on their decisions, restrictions on their movements, and all that. Segregation, it's also segregation or discrimination, unemployment. Address the issue of the disability. So in disability rehabilitation, we have one medical model. In medical model, we look at the physical aspects of the individual, and in what way it is affecting, how it is affecting, and how to overcome by lifting the physical barriers through medical care. In the first medical model, the first and foremost thing we have to keep in mind is prevention. How to prevent the disability in the first place. We may be wondering how we cannot prevent disability. Yes, we can prevent disability through certain measures. This prevention is possible if we give proper care, prenatal care, to the mothers, pregnant women who are in poor families or in underdeveloped countries, in lower income groups where poor women are there. We need to take care of them. We need to give proper nutrients. We need to give proper medical attention, and many other things that we can do, so that we can prevent the disability in the first place. And one more social practice is there that keep on lingering in the social circles. That is about cross cousin marriages, menarikam antuntam manam. So in cross cousin marriages also, this genetical variation will mutate and results in the disability. So in such cases also, we can prevent that disability. And several other instances are there. So in medical model, prevention must be the foremost thing to observe. Then it happened. We cannot do. Once it happened, at least even if it is happening, you need to identify it. Early identification is the another thing. Early identification helps you to deal the problem immediately and address the problem and take proper checks. So early identification is the another aspect of the medical model. Third one is health and nutrition. This puts onus on the policies and also societies and also individuals. As a policy maker, you need to ensure health and nutrition to your population, to your people, and specifically concentrate on the pregnant women and nursing women. Because when the health of the woman is compromised, the health of the unborn child and infant or the babies in the in their early years, they get affected. That is the reason why we need to concentrate on the health and nutrition. At the individual level, in the families, we need to give proper care to the woman who is carrying, who is a pregnant lady, or who is milking her children, who is having infants, and any other daughter of the family. So the health and nutrition of the people is an important aspect in the medical model. Another one is, once it happened and you are giving everything, but still it is there, then we need to seek medical assistance. In such cases, we have two options. One is medical option and another one is surgical intervention. So maybe this surgical intervention also is part of the medical intervention. In medical intervention, either you will give some kind of medicine or something like that, or stop progression. We cannot reverse the disability in most of the cases. So at least we can stop the progression. In such cases, proper care should be given. And if they need any surgical interventions to corrective measurements, in such cases also, we need to give that care to the disabled person. Here in medical or surgical intervention, it is a costly affair, and this costly affair should be subsidized and be provided to the disabled persons at a very subsidized rates through the government programs and policies. And assistive technology. This assistive technology helps the individuals with disabilities to do their own work on their own. We have seen Stephen Hawking interacting with his only with one blink of eye and with the system attached to his system. With that eye movement only, he has written several books on the universe and black holes and time and everything. So he's a noted physician and astronomer, and he is very renowned for his contribution in that field. So though he is limited by his disabilities are almost like 99%, but with 1% only he was able to do such wonders just because of the assistive technologies. So these assistive technologies must be given to the persons with the disabled. In the World Health Organization observation also, half of the population with disabilities are not getting proper health care or assistive technologies. So we must come forward, the governments must come forward in providing these assistive technologies. Whatever measures you may take, whatever the resources you may allot for the policies, the major portion should be given to the assistive technologies. And another one is professional training program and disability management. In managing the disabilities at the family level, at the society level, or at the medical level, we need proper professional trainings. So in order to give proper management, we have to have some professional training in this regard. So this is also one aspect. So through all these dimensions, our medical model tries to address the issues of the disability. But this is not comprehensive as we comprehend from the living experiences of the disabled persons. So how to do this in social spaces? So early detection and intervention and integration is the foremost thing that we have to do to include them in the inclusive development policies. So we have three tri model this thing to address the issue. Here there are activities. Basically, we have three kinds of activities: early detection, early intervention, and early integration. Early detection is you are detecting the problem as soon as it appeared in the early stage. And early intervention is when you detected it early, it is possible to have an early intervention. So with your early intervention, you can address the problem. And early integration is also an important thing that helps the individual to integrate into the society with with less difficulty, because later in his later ages, or once his mind gets confused, or once his self-esteem has been damaged so drastically that he could not integrate into the society with normal mind or with peace of mind. In such cases, early integration will help the individual to not experience all such agony in the society. So it also helps the individual to develop in a full scale. So to perform these activities, what are the agents? In this model, we have village health nurse or ASHA worker, community health worker, whoever it may be there in the at village level. That they are the agents for the early detection or early intervention or early integration. And Anganwadi workers, primary school at school level teachers, peer groups also will help us to early activities, to take early actions. And what are the agencies that are involved in this? They may be PHCs, ICDS, PINIPs, communities, NGOs, and all that, and PRS or Panchayati Raj institutions, education departments, and all that. So, with all these things, we are trying to help the disabled persons to be integrated into the society. And we have another model is rehabilitation model. In this rehabilitation model, it speaks about early detection, diagnosis and intervention, medical care and treatment. Once you detect the problem, we cannot leave the individual as such. So we need to address to his medical cares and also the treatment. So mostly in rural areas or in lower income people, this problem comes. Medical care and treatment, usually it is very costly affair. So in order to give medical care and treatment, the government should frame certain policies to attend these medical cares at the early stages itself, so that that will not become a huge burden on the society in the later years. And social, psychological, and other types of counseling and assistance. This counseling and assistance must be given to the people who are with the disabilities at the childhood level and at the young and an elder age. So this is like a social activity, social work practice thing. So we need to address their needs at the social level and psychological level through counseling and assistance. And training in self-care activities. They should be given assistive devices and also certain techniques and certain skills through training, so that they should be able to take care of themselves. So training in self activities should be given to them in means of mobility, communication. We could see that the deaf and dumb people have their own sign language. So they must be given some kind of training to communicate with other deaf and dumb people. So communication skills and daily living skills with special provisions or special assistive devices. So in such cases, we need to give them training self-care activities. And another one is provision of technical and mobility aids and other devices, and specialized education services, vocational rehabilitation services. This vocational rehabilitation services assumes importance in terms of economic reliance, self-reliance. This requires guidance, counseling and training, and placement in open or sheltered employment centers. This is an important aspect of this rehabilitation model, because it helps the individual to get themselves employed in earnings. And in association with the social model, I have this slide. This speaks about the definition and also the rights of the people in the social context. This Convention for the Rights of the persons with the disability, it defines, it does not have a proper exclusive definition, but it speaks about the disability. Article 2 does not include a definition of disability, but the convention adopts a social model of disability, but does not offer a specific definition. And the convention's preamble of section E explains the convention that it recognizes that disability is an evolving concept. It is an evolving concept. It is not fully developed concept, and that disability results from the interaction between persons with impairments and attitudinal and environmental barriers. Here we need to stop here. Like it is speaking about the interaction between the persons with impairments or disabilities and the attitudinal and environmental barriers. So here this attitudinal barrier or environmental barrier being posed by the society, not the individuals. So societies are posing attitudinal barrier and environmental barrier. So these barriers limiting the interaction of the persons with impairments. So this disability is arising. That is what it is speaking. So barriers that hinders their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. And it is speaking about the limitations that are posing by the society or environment through their attitude or through the environment, and they're limiting their interaction in full and effective participation of the society on equal basis. And another one is Article 1 further offers that persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers. Here we also note that various barriers means attitudinal or environmental, whichever that is coming from the society. Various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. The entire focus is on the society. The social model offers the focus on the society itself, not on the individual's limitations. Though the person is disabled, it is his disability. Just like you have two limbs, two hands or two legs. So, but the disabled person may not be having. He is an individual just like you. You have to recognize him as an individual just like you. That the disability that he is encountering in the society is being posed by the society, not by the individual. His individual disability does not impair him in interacting with the society. The society is impairing him. We have to come in the reverse order. The physical disability is not disability, but the social disability is the disability of the person. We have to understand in that context. It is so because if we provide proper utility spaces, keeping in view of the needs of the disabled persons, then their disability in transportation, their disability in doing their own activities does not come in their way in participation in society on an equal terms. That is the reason why this convention puts onus on the society itself to accommodate their needs and let them participate just like any other individual on equal basis. So this is how it is recognizing the rights of the disabled persons in the society. And finally, we have arrived at the social model of disability in a single slide. It identifies systemic barriers, derogatory attitudes, social exclusion, intentional or inadvertent, which make it difficult or impossible for individuals with impairments to attain their valued functioning. Any person's function in the society is valued. It is valued through their activities, valued through their contribution to the society, valued by being their own disposition, because we value an individual in our family by being themselves. I'm being valued in my family, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, in my classroom as a teacher. So I am valued through my functioning. The individuals with disabilities also should be valued in the same way. So in doing so, we, so as a society, we as a citizenry cannot exclude them or do any negative things to them, and do not possess derogatory attitudes and pose systemic barriers to them. And the social model of disability diverges from the dominant medical model of disability, where the functional analysis of the body as a machine to be fixed in order to conform with normative values. Here we need to understand this very deeply. Here the dominant medical model is looking at the physical body of the individual, treating it as a machine. See, this part is not functioning, we have to fix it with this screw and nut. This part of the body is not doing its function, let us give some medicine. And this part is not functioning, let us cut it off. So we are looking at the body, human body, as a machine to be fixed in order to conform with the normative values. What are these normative values? In our minds, we always possess that if an individual to be a normal individual, he should possess 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, hands, legs, everything should be in order in a complete manner and without any difficulty in any place. But this should be kept out of our mind, because a differently able person also, an individual, is also a human being having same kind of mental agony, mental happiness, emotions and everything. And he is also, through his intellect, can contribute to the society. So our normative values in looking at the disabled person should be changed so as to value the disposition of the disabled person as an individual on par with others. So here the social model diverges from the medical model. The physical, sensory, intellectual and psychological conditions may cause functional impairment or partial or full limitations at individual. But if society is able to include people regardless of their physical or psychological differences, the above conditions does not lead to disability. Here we can, on 100% note, we can cite Stephen Hawking. What are the valuable contributions he has given to the human race, which cannot be given by a normal person also, with all his intellectual abilities. So can we say him as a disabled person? It is not at all consider him as a disabled person. By all means, he is more than a able person. So that is the reason why the limitations of the individual cannot disable him in interacting with the society, in contributing in the society, but the society should be able to include these people regardless of their physical or psychological differences. Hence, disability is therefore in social contexts arise out of society's disability to accommodate, include the persons with disabilities to participate in full and effective manner. And this disability affects differently on many dimensions on different peoples. The differentiation may be caste, gender, age and class, and physical disability. So it is there in the society. And regarding children with disabilities, between 93 million and 150 million children live with a disability in the worldwide. Okay, the World Health Organization and the World Bank estimate that in some countries, being disabled more than doubles the chance of never enrolling in school. So by being disability, these children are kept away from the schools because of negative attitudes, negative attitude of the society, or bullying in the school, and also lack of special assistance devices, lack of special needs in the special utility spaces in the schools, and so on. So that is the reason why about the the disabled children, their chance of being enrolled in the school is very less. and this results in the quality of the life for individuals and their families, and also has a negative economic impact on the countries. A study by the International Labour Organization found that countries lose between 3% and 7% of GDP by excluding people with disabilities from the job market. Considering the GDP at global level, this 3% and 7% may account to billions of rupees or billions of dollars in economic terms. So it is so economically burdensome for the nations to exclude these disabled persons or disabled children away from the development policies. And a young population, this young population also, these disabled people have experiencing in a different manner, different experiences in their lives. They have challenges regarding their physical limitations, and that results in low productivity, unemployment, marginalization, and poverty, leading to dependency on caretakers or on the families. So this dependency will reduce their self-esteem and their desire to live, and their quality, it reflects in the limitation of quality of life. And they also experience psychological issues, and that needs counseling and guidance, which go unaddressed in most of the times, because as we said earlier, these disability has more incidence in the lower income groups. And even they are highly income groups, or they belong to high class families also, people hesitate to declare that their children are having some kind of disability, psychological disability or physical disability or something like that. In such cases, their needs go unaddressed. And so therefore, we need to have a broader outlook at the disability problem and take it as a normal thing. God has created this universe on a not on a uniform basis. Each one is a different entity. So this disabled person is also a different kind of entity, and just like us, we are united but distinct in several ways. Disabled persons also distinct in their own ways, but they are also just like us humans. So this cannot be viewed as a special problem, but it is a normal problem in the society, and we have to attend to their physical and psychological problems. And social difficulties in moving in the public spaces, being alienated, feeling unimportant, low self-esteem, and so on. So this also need to be addressed by the governments. And one more important and very bothersome problem is the problem of the elderly population who are having disability. These are the most suffering lot, because almost the present day generation, they see elder people as burden, and they have their own individual pursuits of careers, employment opportunities, and they don't have time even to eat for themselves, to sleep for themselves at proper times, and take care of themselves. In such cases, who can expect these younger generation people will serve or attend to the needs of the elderly population? And if they are suffering with disability, the problem is double. So these are the most suffering lot. Most of the time, their voices are ignored or unattended, and their presence is felt as burdensome for their family members or caretakers. And as a community, collective responsibility, it is also a burden on the community itself. So what should we do? As a community, we should value the elder people needs. Societal norms change slowly in tune with modernization, globalization, and commodification that resulted in higher level of individuality. There is no space for elders in the minds of the younger population. Therefore, the communities as a collective should come forward to protect the elderly population. And many studies, research, development activities are coming up to accommodate the elderly population in their own homes, communities, and other public spaces. Here, I try to give a special mention about construction environments. In construction environments, like in public spaces, also disabled people will have their own washroom facilities. And at homes also, we need to construct special bathrooms for these people, and we need to give some special aids in the bathrooms also, like handles, chains to sit and stand on the toilet seats, and western commodes, and an alarm bell also should be included in the bathroom, so that whenever there is an emergency, the elder people should press that button and we can go to them and attend their call. So in like that, small arrangements in the constructed spaces also help the elderly people to overcome their disabilities. And next comes employment-oriented model. As said earlier, their customized early intervention and employment-oriented equal opportunity, tailor-made work assistance, vocational training and occupational rehabilitation, and subsidized compensate employers for competitive disadvantages, anti-discrimination legislation, ensuring full participation of the disabled persons. And another thing, how to overcome these the problems of the disabilities at individual level and at the community level. So mostly, if the society properly respond at community level, the disabilities does not affect negatively at high note on the disabled persons. So CRPD has developed 8 guiding principles. One is respect for inherent dignity, individual autonomy, including the freedom to make one's own choices and the independence of the persons, and non-discriminate them, ensure full and effective participation and inclusion in society, and respect for difference. You should not degrade the differently able persons. You should respect their ability. If their one hand is not there, they are doing both with one hand the things that are doing with the 2 hands. So he is differently able. He is having more abilities than us. So with one hand, he are doing the hands of the both two hands. So that is why we have to respect the difference and acceptance of the disabled people as part of human diversity. This is the population. We cannot have same faces, same limbs, same nose, same eyes, same height, same color, like that. So there is a diversity in the human population. Same way, this disability is also one kind of diversity. Treat it as a one kind of diversity. And equality of opportunity. We have to provide equal opportunity to them, and accessibility, provide proper accessibility to the public spaces, and observe equality between men and women, respect for the evolving capacities of disabled children, and respect for them to preserve their identities. This is foremost important thing, to preserve their self-identities. They should not shun their identity as a derogatory thing. They should value their identity. They should value their position in their social spaces. If society provides such kind of things to the people, to the children, they value their own self and they contribute just like any other individual. So we have to preserve their identities. And how to accommodate them is already I've told. Again, I'm reiterating this. Restructuring and remodeling the built spaces, offices, public transportation facilities, hospitals, recreational facilities, and such other public utility spaces, and constructing buildings, interiors, keeping in mind the persons with disabilities, technology-assisted devices, research and development on this area, keeping in view the lived experiences of the PWDs or persons with disabilities. And lastly but not least, any discipline cannot further without the academic pursuit. We will contribute the knowledge, so as based on the contributed knowledge of the academicians, we develop research and development programs and address the disability problems. So as academicians, what should we do? The academic pursuits in disability studies requires studies should conduct on various dimensions. We should not limit our studies only on physical model, only on medical model, or through looking at the economic model or socio-cultural model. We have to take into account various dimensions of the disability, and we should conduct so that in comprehensively we can address the disability things. So, and also parameters like young children, young population, women, elderly population are some parameters to keep conducting studies and help the disabled population to overcome their disabilities at individual level and help the societies to deal with the disabled problem and give respect to the disabled population. And last but not least, I will finish my presentation with one slide. This is the slide regarding, I guess most of you remember seeing in newspapers. This has occurred in 2017 in Gujarat. This is the sun in Rajkot, Gujarat. This is the sun taking, just a minute. This is the son taking his mother to the roof of the building. We may be wondering why he is taking his mother with so much of affection. He is handling him with his hands, handling her with his hands and taking and helping her to climb up the stairs. By seeing the footage, we will look like we understand that. But the real action is that he has murdered his mother by throwing her from the upstairs because she is a bedridden patient with brain hemorrhage for several years, and he and his wife is fed up with the services they are giving to the mother. So, one fine morning, he took his mother to the upstairs and threw her down, and she died. And he said to the police that she has fallen from the roof accidentally and she died. And police also started believing. But one of the neighbors who felt suspicious of the behavior of the son has tipped the police, and they checked the footage of the apartment building, and they finally the facts have come up. The fact is that he threw the mother from the building. So she is an elder woman and with disability. This is how the society is progressing. This is a shame on the humanity that we are not able to accommodate our own mother and give services to our own disabled mother through proper care and dignity. So there is a need to recheck our values and how we are growing up and what values we are giving to our future citizenry, future generations, so that how we are being placed in a future age in the hands of the children. So with this, I conclude, and thank you for having a patient hearing to my presentation. And I also thank the director Subbarao Garu and the institution Andhra University for giving me this opportunity. And I hope a grand success to the program. Thank you, one and all. Hello.
Madam, thank you very much.
Sir.
Within a short notice, you gave us a very beautiful and wonderful and very important insights to our participants.
Sir.
Thank you very much, madam.
My pleasure, sir.
Okay.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, thank you. Now I request my colleague, Dr. B. Shivaram Krishna, to propose formal vote of thanks. Very brief.
at the end of the one-day webinar on social inclusion and empowerment of persons with disabilities, I formally propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Director, Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy. I thank our Honorable Doctor, Professor K. Samta Garu, for accepting our invitation and kindly inaugurating the webinar. Madam has just spoken about how the persons with disabilities are facing different types of problems, from accessing to various types of opportunities in health, education, justice, etc. Madam, you are kind enough for accepting our invitation. We are also thankful to our university administration for the support and encouragement for all our programs and activities. We also thank the guest of honor, Dr. K. Sita Manikan Garu, for congratulating us and presenting us on the various laws in United Nations conventions on the persons with disabilities, and for concern towards the persons with disabilities, and the activities she undertaken during her time as a member of differently abled persons cell in Andhra University. And she has also narrated various provisions of the Act. We are also thankful to Dr. Swarnalata Garu, Chairperson, Board of Studies, Department of Sociology and Social Work, Vice Principal, University of Arts and Science College, Kakatiya University, Warangal. Madam, you have discussed the major issues faced by the persons with disabilities. You have covered the various kinds of models, presented various kinds of models, the social model, medical model, rehabilitation model, employment model, rights model in a comprehensive manner, and came out with solutions requiring the community to change and giving a social space for the disabled for their total integration in the community. I also thank the team, Anand, Jeevan, um, um, Suresh, and others for giving support. And we also thank the technical lead, PSS Ramesh Naidu, for facilitating this program. We thank the media, we thank our colleagues, I thank our director for organizing this event at a short notice. And we also thank all the resource persons, both the resource persons and for accepting our invitation at a very short notice. I thank our honorable chief guest, Professor K. Samta Garu, for accepting the invitation and inaugurating. I thank the guest of honor and also Professor Dr. Sita Manikan Garu and Sonalata Garu for acting as resource persons. Thank you. With this, the program has come to an end. Thank you. Babu, ఏంటిది ఏం పరిస్థితి? బాబు ఆ ఫోన్ నంబర్ ఉన్నది. అయిపోయింది.